You're listening to the Tales from the Grip podcast. If you're gonna make a movie, then you need to get a grip.
Welcome to the Tales from the Grip podcast, the podcast for professionals and those of you out there that's trying to make your leap into the business. Today is going to be a little bit different because my guest and expert today is somebody I actually know and worked with. And I'm going to apologize to her now. I'm glad that I didn't ruin her career. Alexandra, Denise is my expert of the day. And yes, I'm so happy that I didn't just derail you.
I am so happy you didn't derail me either. But it's okay. I can re-rail myself.
Yes, you can. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I am doing very well. Now, just before we started, not only did I introduce you as an actress, but you have other things on your resume. Would you mind giving your stance of professional works to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, it's a no-brainer. I'm an actress. In that acting realm, I also do, of course, theater and voiceover. I actually started out in the theater, got my degree in theater. And I've recently branched out into stunts, so I'm currently taking that at ATL Stunts, and Brian, who his name is also Brian, is very great at what he does. Actually just helped him film a little gig there, a couple of other stunt people, and but outside of acting, I really do enjoy a lot of outdoor life stuff, so I wouldn't exactly classify myself as a survivalist, but I hunt, I fish, I garden, and also have a channel called True Nature on YouTube where I talk about hunting, fishing, gardening, and being self-sustainable and self-reliable, self-preservation, that type of thing.
You preparing for the world to end?
Yeah, actually, he needs to hurry up. No, I'm just playing.
No,
so I can conquer her.
Oh my goodness! What movie am I in?
You're on my good side.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm just teasing.
Well, come save me if it goes down that way.
It's funny. My friends say that too. They're like, "I'm gonna come find you when the world ends."
Yeah.
Like, wow.
You need somebody that knows how to do all that.
No,
but
you're good.
Before I go off into the acting thing, which we all know that's what I asked you here for, why stunts? I mean, that seems like such a departure.
Well, actually, stunts is also actually something I've always wanted to do to a degree, but not like the extreme. I wanted to be the actress that kind of do my own stunts, which is why growing up, I wanted to do like archery, which I bow hunt, so that's already fallen into play, horseback riding, and I recently got into fencing also. So I take fencing over at Atlanta Fencing Company. Though you probably won't use it as much for film, I just think that it's something cool because I always wanted to do it, especially after watching the Zorro movie. So it's like the rapier.
How often do you hear that?
Right.
Zorro influenced me.
Zorro influence. So I really want to master the rapier, but I'm also doing like the long sword and a little bit of bow staff as well. So.
Well, you never know. I mean, look, fencing wasn't a high art in the 80s, but then you had The Princess Bride.
Yeah, right.
Which is known for its sword fight scene. Mm-hmm. They do come along every once in a while.
Every once in a while, and I was like, I'll probably be that one little chip in there.
You'll be the 1 in 1,000.
One in 1,000.
I actually know how to do this.
Right. It's so weird. And it's funny because Pirates of the Caribbean actually was a big influence in why I started acting. Johnny Depp, one of my favorite actors, was his diversity in characters. I was like, wow, I want to do stuff like that, create just memorable characters, and actually named my dog after him, Jack. So I recently lost him, though, back in 2020.
Sorry.
They just don't last long.
I know.
But,
that was
heartbreaking. Yeah. So Pirates of the Caribbean was a big inspiration as to why I just was like, I got to do this, And here I am about over 10 years later. Here we go.
And you're doing it. But okay, so we're not talking about jumping out of a burning building or
no.
You sound like you're like, not yet.
I think my niche in stunts would be more of like weaponry, so firearms, archery, swords,
Are we angling for an action movie?
I am up for an action movie.
You sound like it.
Yeah. That's actually been because I'm also physical person. Work out at the gym a lot. So I was like, I want to do something cool. So when you see my stunt reels and stuff, you'd be like, yeah, okay, she got it going on.
I believe that. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So, I mean, that's another feather in your cap. I mean, and speaking of which, how important would you say that adding that to your acting toolbox is and has been?
Well, let's see. I would say it's probably more like 25 out of 75. So 75 acting, more so 25 stunts. Of course, with a lot of TV and film productions, if you are the star of the show, they can't have that liability of you getting hurt. So they will hire a stunt double or somebody for you. So with that being said, I'd say, about good 25% of that in my arsenal.
Well, yeah.
But I think as much as possible. I mean, really a lot of it is just a self-fulfillment. I want to do it just because it's something I've always wanted to do. So.
Well, and you do have the cases of the star actor. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. In most cases, they do not want you doing anything. They don't even want you taking a bump, just falling on the ground.
Exactly.
Much less doing a fight scene or fencing this, that, and the other. But then you also get the other side of the fence where you have those actors who are known for doing their stunts. Jackie Chan.
I was just about
he's
to
top
say.
of the list.
Obviously.
Right? Tom Cruise is listed in there. I mean, he doesn't do the super, super dangerous stuff, but he likes to try to get as much of it where you can, where I can still have the camera on me and you know there's me that's doing it. Right?
Yeah, and it also helps with that realistic edge too. Like sometimes I notice when we're doing some of the tactical training and stunts that some people don't know how to simply hold a firearm. So it comes to the fact of if you could train a little bit in it in real life, it helps make it a little more natural on film. So it's also that aspect.
That is a very good point, because now you're going for believability in the role that you have rather than. And I'm going to try to phrase this properly so that I don't insult anybody out there that's watching. There have been people who've shown up to auditions, we'll say, and not really known. Yeah. And they just do as seen on TV is what we call it.
Exactly.
So I've seen people do this on TV, so therefore I show up and I do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that at a gun range. So.
No, you don't, but again, it's as seen on TV. They saw somebody else do that, so now I just replicate.
Right.
But now you're in the midst of doing something where, you are learning how to do this the proper way. You're getting the correct way to walk into a room, firearm in hand, et cetera, which again, assuming that the casting agent knows that you're doing it the right way, because you do have that hurdle to jump to, because they may not know the difference.
Exactly. And I think it helps to also, if you have time, I mean, don't bore them, but explain a little bit about that as well. So.
Well, yeah. Do you find that you're able to kind of work that information in? Because, casting agents at a certain point is, all right, next, thank you, we're good, we're just...
And that's why a good reel is so important. You never want to put something on your social media that you're not absolutely sure about, and that makes people second guess your ability. So showing yourself in the best light is crucial. In a sense, you might say, oh, y'all, you're fake and everything. I'm like, no, it's not fake. It's just showing what you can do, because some people, they only like to put their best foot forward. I mean, we do make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are mistakes made, but still, if you can minimize that and show the confidence in you doing it, then, of course, it makes the world a difference.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That changes the game and gives you, again, another tool in your acting toolbox. So, now let's roll this back. I deviated off into stunts there for a little while. I tried to work into acting, but did we establish why acting specifically? You just enjoyed the art of the performance? Was it just solely Mr. Depp and you saw him and it's like, hey, I need and want to do that?
Well, I think it more so goes back further than Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean was just the jump for me to say, yeah, let me go ahead and do it. But I do remember specifically, kids, they show you their talents before they even manifest into them as a skill set in life. So I remember my daddy, he used to be a truck driver, and he went to New York and got the Lion King cassette tape. And I love The Lion King. It's also a staple in my life. Disney, you're great.
Just put that out there.
Yeah, you're great, Disney. Okay. But it's also a staple in my life. And growing up as a child, of course, and I would play that cassette tape from, start to finish every night after school, whatever. And I would also do little elements and stuff when it comes to film, like move the furniture around, try to make it look like Pride Rock, whatever, and then get the tiles and put them around my head. It's like,
did you have your teddy bear and hold it up to the?
Not quite. I was Nala.
Ah, okay. So you wasn't performing the circle of life. At least
actually, I was a couple of people though. But I like Nala.
All right.
But yeah, put the little tail in your little belt in your loose. But little did I know, it sounds silly now looking back on it, but I was a kid.
And what's silly about that?
Yeah, kids use their imagination, and that's a beautiful thing about acting too. And when you become a professional actor and you try to decompress people to not be so much of an adult, be a kid again, because kids, they don't care who's watching and whatever. So when it comes to being an adult actor, you kind of got to nitpick all that out of the person. It's kind of hard for people because we're taught a certain way now, to how to act as people. And I mean, the ability to snap back and forth between, of course, you just being in this imaginary world and then being in a reality, I think is very important. But when it comes forth that time, okay.
You can turn that on and off.
Right. But little did I know when I was a kid that was preparing me for who I am today. All the elements of theater was there, me putting on the little towels and stuff as the costume, and then the music was the spectacle and the elements of theater, and there we go.
How long have you been in the Atlanta acting scene?
Since 2016.
How's it been?
It has been ups and downs. I can't say that it's been just easy breezy, but you're gonna have those years because you have personal stuff going on in your life, and then there are things that happens that are out of your control, that's in the market, and it has been how it should be, ups, downs. I've had some good years, I've had some dry years, but it's still rolling.
But you're still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there.
Has the opening of more studios here, in your viewpoint, helped or hurt? Now, I asked that, I'm going to preface this a bit. I asked that because it seems with some people it's developed an unrealistic expectation of moving here. And now there's been plenty of people that I've seen who are here and get a lot of, work out of it. Or, peaks and valleys, as you say. But then, it's become to some like, hey, I'm just going to move to Atlanta. It'd be great,
Well, we definitely don't want to give that impression that, over here is easy breezy. Mm-hmm. Some people might find it that way. Maybe maybe it's a stroke of luck. Maybe it's just your time. Maybe, who knows? There's so many elements up in it. But I would say it's only as easy as you are prepared. So if you come and you have what it takes, you have everything, all your ducks in a row, you get out there, you might be networking with a lot of casting directors and people in the industry, then yeah, it might all finally come together for you. But if you come here without a plan, you plan to fail. So it's just like if I were to move out there to LA, I don't know anybody out there. I don't know just how anything works out there. I prefer to stay my country butt over here. So, but if I have to move out there, I will, of course, do my homework about it. Is it easier to meet casting directors here? Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so, at least I thought it was going to be a little hard, but we have a couple of great studios around that makes that a little comfortable for actors. So Get Seen is one I know of, and a couple of other places. But yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the preparation that you speak of. Because again, unfortunately, I know there's some people out there, you know who I'm talking about. Some people have moved without the plan. It's just been, well, I've been told I can, and I can't tell how many times I've heard the line of, well, I've been told I had that fool, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And they're largely relying on their persona or wits or charisma to carry them over without any acting abilities. I know I've seen some people that have come here without even taking a single class. And I would say maybe 8 out of 10 times the line that I get, I'm going to shoot for Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry seems like to be the drop-off for everybody that comes to the city, or at least in their mind, that's where they're heading for. So
I can't tell you how many times, even when I go back home to Memphis and, you go and meet up old people, they be like, so Tyler Perry down there, and I'm over here.
yeah.
I have worked at Tyler Perry Studios from time to time, and I'm like, yeah, I know. So much. I know. I think that they still would even tell me if I was standing next to Tyler Perry himself. They'll still tell me, he's down here. So, but Tyler Perry's great. He's opened a lot of doors for people and a lot of opportunities, so very appreciative for that. But going back, some people, I don't understand it. But who am I to really just call it out? While
That's
people,
why I'm here.
Right? I don't really understand it, but who am I to just call it out? If it's your time, I guess, great. But going back to something about some people come relying just on their wits and their charisma and so on and so forth. I mean, it works. It works. I will say that when I came here back in 2016, I somewhat also just took that leap of faith. I knew that I couldn't just continue to do what I was doing down in Florida, which was working at Disney at the time. And I was like, I want more for myself. I don't want to spend years of my life going in circles, doing the same thing over and over. That's almost like the definition of insanity. Yeah. And even now, I have to kind of make some adjustments in my acting career and try to figure out what's not working, what is working, and how can I further put myself out there, which is probably also another reason you could tie into me getting into stunts. It puts me a little bit more on the edge when it comes to helping producers or directors, casting directors feel comfortable about putting someone that has a little more experience on set. So yeah.
And that acting resume of yours with the addition of stunts, and I'm assuming now when they have that other skills line down there, I mean,
it finally means something.
Oh, not finally. You had other skills.
No, I know.
Because I've seen. Well, let me say this again for whatever students of the game that are listening. Would you say that anything that you know how to do needs to be listed? And I don't mean, like, hey, I play cards. I'm just saying, like, okay, I can drive, I can shoot a gun, I can I'm powerlifter. What any skill, even though you might think is mundane to you.
It's so crazy. The majority of films and everything, of course, deal with firearms, and now more so archery. Horseback riding is probably a skill too that you would need, but that's a lot of period pieces and it comes up every now and then. But I would say anything that you are specifically good at and can actually do, not that you've done a couple of times and then throw it on your resume, is something that you consistently do. So like for me, archery, put it on your resume. That's something that also stands out. You may not be exactly what they need for the part, but it's something that puts you out there. It's like maybe the casting director had in their mind, like, wow, you know what? I actually wanted to try that once in my life. And then it's just because it's on your resume, it catches their attention and it's like, oh yeah, let me just at least talk to this person. He might be good for something else that I'm doing. And I've heard this from casting directors before, but I say anything that you consistently train in and that you are good at, put it on your resume. It's like, what do you really have to lose? If you're a good card player, good poker face, got your poker face on, there you go, do it. I don't know much about gambling, but but yeah.
That's funny. I just looked at a video of somebody that was showing how to cheat in like every possible game.
Yeah, and
in a casino. He was goddamn great. I was trying to curb my cursing for y'all out there.
Right, and I mean, some of the weirdest things can probably come in handy someday. You never know. So.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. This episode of Tales from the Grip is brought to you by the Colonel Goes Popcorn, which you can find at The Colonel, spelled like you do the Colonel, not the military rank, but Colonel of Corn, Kernel. Yeah, my spelling's bad sometimes. But anyway, don't worry about my spelling. Worry about what flavors you can get when you go to the Colonel Goes Popcorn. Kettle corn, gourmet style, brought to you out of Atlanta, ships anywhere. You can get stuff like yellow cheddar, strawberry banana, which I never thought would have been a flavor, but it is. It's true. It works. Cheddar sriracha, which I had, which is delicious. My kids actually ate it up before I could finish it all. Cajun caramel, cheddar sriracha caramel, Parmesan garlic, which I also had, and I found that in my son's trash can when the empty bag, he tore right through it. Just didn't. I'm glad I had the chance to taste some of it before I left out of this building. Anyway, the point being is that if you're going to sit there and you're going to have some popcorn, you might as well go gourmet, go all the way. And if you're going to go gourmet, go for the Colonel Goes Pop. Remember, the Colonel Goes Pop is the website. Goes everywhere. Just because you're not in Atlanta does not mean that you can't get it. Ships out to you. And you can enjoy this just like you would any other movie night. Grab yourself a soda, get yourself a gourmet popcorn, and support him and the show with the Colonel Goes Pop. And now, on to the podcast. So, you've been doing this since you've been here since 2016. Where do you go to find your acting gigs?
Various places. I have 2 agents. So one is in Florida, one is here. They're great. But Actors Access, of course. I do look on some of the Facebook pages every now and then for some of the passion projects and whatnot when other work is slow. So there's a couple of them out there. I can't remember right off the top of my head like that. But it's just various places, word of mouth. Yeah.
I mean, one I used to know, it doesn't exist anymore, is Love to Act. I don't know why I was spelling it out.
Yeah, I think I heard of that. Yeah.
I don't know why it just dropped off. It used to be a great site. To find people and for actors to go to. I mean, it was very simple.
Now, with that being said, you do have to be careful out there.
Yes, talk about that.
Especially being a female, because I remember back in 2016, I first got here, and I was like desperate to try to find some stuff going on. And I think it was one of those type of sites that I found something. And long story short, ended up going to the address of the audition, and I get there, it's I guess like notebook paper like that, taped to the mailbox, says audition here, and it was pointing to somebody's house, and I'm like, do I really want to go in there? I don't think I want to go in there. So
gave you the wrong vibes?
Yeah, it gave me the wrong vibes. But I've gone to auditions at fire stations, warehouses for some of the modeling auditions. I'd say if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Like, there is nothing out there that is... You're going to get more opportunities just because you don't take this one. It's not the end of the world. Like, listen to your gut instinct. Don't do anything that you're not 100% comfortable with, and there we go. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it is the God's honest truth.
I don't think you could stress that enough, because there are some shady individuals out there, and they will use the desire.
I'm a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a little camcorder or something. Yeah, so those type of people.
So again, I want to say this without insulting anybody. Scenario, had there ever been a case where you turned away from that one because it gave you a bad vibe before you walked in? Mm-hmm. Have you ever walked into a place where it's like, not sure about this one? Don't give me no names because I know you don't want to throw nobody in the bus, but
not that I can think of off the bat, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I can think of off the
that's
bat.
good. What do you consider? Well, let me start with this one first. So scratch that. I'll get back to that question. Mm-hmm. Are you aware of your personal acting, I guess, lack of a better term, limitation? Is there something that you would say like, yes, I don't think I'm good for that? And is it important for you to acknowledge that?
It is absolutely important. You're only as strong as your weakest link, I think. So if it's something that you feel like you need to get better at, now don't get me wrong, some actors, they prefer to stick to their type. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I have played roles I didn't even think I could ever play or would wanna, because I see myself as, of course, this tough girl, whatever else, but then there are things that other people see in you that you're good at. And then when you try it out, you're like, wow, I really was good at that. I remember some years ago, I played a battered woman, mm-hmm. and I personally didn't think that I could ever play such a role, but when I actually dug into it and did the work behind it, I was like, wow, so it's not just about me, but somebody else's story that I have to tell. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so there are still some parts of acting that I don't feel comfortable dabbling into. And that's fine. You don't have to. With a lot of the nudity and the profanity and, some of the scripts that just throw all of that in there just for the sake of it, just to sell it. We get it. Sex sells, but come on now. And I personally want to portray bigger, better characters that kind of reflects myself, but at the same time reflect the possibility of, greatering, how can I say? I'm trying not to offend some people now. Bettering, I'm looking for it, but you get it. Better portrayals. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Okay. Now that is a perfect segue here. You talked. Those are specific things within the course of a script. So in theory, you could have a good script, but they've just been like, we want you to screw on the couch. And that might turn you away. Now, have you gotten a script where the character itself is like, I really got to think about this one?
I have. I have.
Where does the dilemma lie there? Now, I'm going to give the example, and I've given this example before, so if you caught it in the past episode, just stick with me. It's the Denzel Washington example.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah,
I knew you were going there.
Most actors know that one. The nigga they couldn't kill. That was the script that he did. That's not the actual title. That's what he calls it. Mm-hmm. The script that he was given to it, he was like, I don't know. He was accused of a crime, and white people tried to kill him multiple times. It's like a comedy, and he didn't want to do that, and asked his agent. He was like, look, I'm not going to tell you not to, but bear in mind, the first couple of moves that you do will kind of dictate where you go. So that in mind, tell me your I guess as best you can.
I guess to keep that brief, definitely do what you feel you can execute with, I'm going to say perfection, but just execute. If it's something, like I said, going back to the better portrayals, we as African Americans, we get locked into these scripts of struggle love and this and that and, all that. I mean, we've seen those stories.
Struggle love, yes.
Yeah, it's somebody's reality.
True.
But it's the whole debate of life imitating art or art imitating life, that kind of thing. And where do we go from here? Like, what more is out there for us than just this cycle of, baby mama drama and struggle love and hood stories and this and that, I want to portray something so much more than just the typical, So, yeah, I have looked at certain, I've gotten auditions where it's like the tagline, everything else sounds good, but then when you read the dialogue, it's like a lot of cussing and profanity and a lot of craziness happening. And I'm like, as long as it can have a strong character, strong plot, and a good resolution that's not, of course, the typical, I can work with it. But if it's just this dragged out whatever, I'm like, I'm over quality versus, quantity. Some people, just want to act. They don't care. But it's as you state, when you come into the business, your first couple of what you establish yourself as, that's pretty much the first impression that's imprinted in people's mind, and it's kind of hard to break out of that. I mean, I don't, like, when it comes to people that do a lot of type acting, they prefer to stick with their type because that's what's getting them paid. Great. Yeah. I mean, you can do that, and, nothing wrong with that. But for some people that really want to go further and step outside the box and dabble into other areas of acting, then you don't have to do that. You don't have to stick to your type. Like, I've played a battered woman, I've played the killer, I've played the scorned woman, and, in some cases... You played
the killer that wasn't aware that she was a killer.
The killer that wasn't a killer, right, exactly. I've played in, a couple of horror films as well. I'm just trying my area in, trying my hand in different areas there.
Give me the difference between working in a horror movie versus... The battered woman, I would assume, is drama, and horror kind of works in its own little niche. Mm-hmm.
But the battered woman script, which is called "At Least I Didn't Kill Him," it was a very great script, and I love how it turned out. To be honest, when I first read it at the audition, I had second thoughts because, again, I was like, battered woman, typical kind of. But then when I read the full thing after, they was like, yeah, you got the part. I was like, okay. And then I read the whole full thing. I was like, wow, there's actually a great resolution to this. So
see, it fools you.
Yeah, it does fool me. So I love it when it happens in that way. Not just, I'm going to go and do the same stuff that, got me into this whole situation. So there has to be an arc.
What tell me about the horror movies. What do you feel about working in the horror movies? Because, again, like I said, there's a certain fan base that's built around horror, and it kind of exists in its own little universe. For Fangora and the people that go to the conventions and read magazines like that. Your impressions and or experience with that.
I have been in quite a few horror movies. One of the last ones was Devil's Room. Absolutely loved it. You may have heard of Cupcake Rapture Studio. So yeah, Leland did an excellent job with that, and the writer. And wow, it was this couple moves into this house, and of course there's this special room that was built that was used for satanic rituals. And yeah, just go see it. It's on YouTube. I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay,
I'm going to make y'all go look at it. But Devil's Room was great. And I recently just got done with another one by the same director, Empathy. So all of these are like kind of theater of the absurd type plays, suspense dramas, and so on. There is a difference with the horror versus anything else. And I know that I only would attract certain groups of people.
Yeah.
But I guess it kind of rubs off, too, when it goes back to that type, because when I first got here to Georgia, The Walking Dead was one of the shows that I trained to be on. I was like, I'm going to run out here in the heat. I'm going to do this and that, whatever. I mean, I never was on the show. Know some people that was on the show. But, yeah, it's a very different feel. I like the horror drama, but I also want to dabble a little more into sci-fi and, of course, some of the other
You struck me as liking sci-fi. Yeah, that's not surprising to me that you're in that lane. I can. No, I mean just in talking to you outside of this, it wasn't shocking because just what you auditioned for with me was more Twilight Zone-ish than anything. You know, but like I said, getting back into the horror thing, I asked that because the term, I can't even say it, Scream Queen. There we go.
Scream Queen.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Okay,
I was having a hard time getting that out.
Scream Queen.
That gets kind of thrown in there a lot because the genre has a formula. More often than not. Not all the time. It breaks away from it. And, you know, you have the, Scream Queen and Final Girl. Those are the base elements that you typically get out of there. Have you aimed to be the final girl in a horror movie? The one that's going to be covered in blood and last in line, survive the debauchery, the butchering, and on the highway headed to safety at the end credits or whatever.
That would be cool. But if it serves the script for me to die, I guess so. But yeah,
you gotta survive it.
Yeah, I gotta survive it. I mean, I got too many skills to do that.
Well, no,
not survive it.
You know, I always go back to watching Scream 2 and being in the movie theater, and that the air just let out of the room when I was at least Neil when she died.
Oh yeah,
it just deflated that entire air. But like, oh, because then she had gone so far. And said the right things like smart people run. Everybody remembers that line, smart people run. And then I just got to check it out. The other girl goes to the car, and then all of a sudden, oh.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love to be the last woman standing, you know, last person standing. And then, well, maybe my dog too. Throw me a dog in there. There we go.
Oh my God. Well, I don't think nobody could do that to that anymore. You know, they can't. It used to be a point in time back in the 80s. They might have did anything with animals. They can't do that now. It's just in poor taste. The animal has to live through.
Yes.
Gotta
live through.
Well, see, we need
walk into the sunset with my dog.
That's right. We need to find your Halloween, your Scream, your Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or whatever. You know, and black actors in horror movies is up.
Yeah, actually, very surprisingly. And I was watching something. I was watching something on TV yesterday, and I just skimmed through some of the channels. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot more black people like dabble into the horror film and try to change it more so to where we don't die first. And you know.
Well, that was a trope. So, yeah. Back in the day, it was the one line that everybody knew. You're a black person in this horror movie.
It's like, yep. Maybe if you're mixed, you might have a chance. Maybe. But other than that. Yeah.
About 10 minutes into it.
It makes me proud to see, you know, us dabbling to different genres than just, you know.
Well, I'll thank Mr. Jordan Peele for that.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan.
Although I do have a problem with Get Out in terms of logic, but I won't go into that now.
Okay. The next
look,
question.
I'm just saying, it's a good movie. Look, I didn't say it's a bad movie. The movie's great.
I'm just like,
I was in there elated like everybody else at there. It's like, he made it, yeah.
Hey, I am reading the room over here. I'm just
look, I'm just saying, there's just a conflict of logic in the movie. Let me put it this way, okay?
I mean, you don't have to explain.
I will. You know, somebody might be like, "What conflict of logic?" So I'm just gonna put it this way. Just follow me here. Stepford Wives made a remake with Nicole Kidman, following the original Stepford Wives movie. The original Stepford Wives movie was a replacement, not a brainwashing. It would kill their wives and just make a new one. Following Stepford Wives sequels were all brainwashing. The remake didn't decide which way to go. It was implied that they were being brainwashed to be subservient, but then you have a scene where they show him a replica of his wife. So there was a little conflict in logic there. Get Out has a similar premise, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, we're going to leave it alone.
I want to. Yeah, we're not going to go off of that. One question I ask every actor. I have a theory that anyone that has a reasonable resume has what I term the unloved child. It's the movie, show, project that they participated in that for whatever reason. I know people saw it, wasn't marketed, wrong time, whatever. That in your mind's like, man, if people that saw that, it would have, it would have been received better. Do you have what I feel is the unloved child of the actor's resume?
I do. I have a couple of credits that's like that, but I say this: if you shot it, put it on your resume.
No. It's not that you're not putting it on your resume. I'm just saying if people had only had taken the time, or
Yes.
Yeah, because like I said, I think everybody has it, because there's good movies that exist out there that some people just haven't seen, and sometimes they don't find it until 20 years later, or whatever the case may be.
I feel like I got a couple of those. I feel like I do, but for the most part, a lot of the films that I have auditioned for and actually been in are of quality, and have been marketed as such, but not to where it's like extreme in the theaters or Amazon Prime, but at least somebody have seen it.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a small little studio screening or some sort like that, and on YouTube or whatnot. Yeah.
Any of them that you would point out and be like, hey, look, if you're going to look at anything on my resume that I feel is a good representation of my performance, look at these things.
Actually, I would say your project.
Oh, wow.
I definitely would just say your project. I feel like
that's very sweet.
No, I'm not saying that just to kiss up to you.
No, I'm just saying. No, I mean it. I feel like, and that was one of my only projects that I can really think of that I spoke in an accent of a sort. I mean, it may not have been the best accent, but I mean. No, it's just, that one you just
I did something different. Right. So I feel proud of that one. And I do wish more people would have seen it, Brian. More people see it. You got any plans for that? Put it back out there?
I'll put the link here. The link will be in the description below.
The description below, y'all.
You just, all right, just put me on the spot.
But no, it was a really great project. I think it was well written. It was one of those that was, two sides to the coin.
One of the few people that threw me off. You got me.
You're great. You asked.
I did. I asked for that. I asked for it.
Set yourself up.
I did.
Final words.
Final words. Anything that you want to impart on the hopefuls that's out there, the ones that are just getting started, the ones that's about to take that leap into the entertainment world here in Atlanta, or at least attempt to?
Well, coming from the acting perspective, I would definitely say stay true to yourself. You have a lot of people out there that they're trying to feed off of each other and the same, some people, they may not even like you, but they just want to hang around you because maybe of the people that and whatever else. You got to really vet the people that are in your circle, stay true to who you are. You don't have to branch off into anybody else's likes or dislike. What you like is what you like, and what they, what they want to do is what you have to be firmly rooted in who you are and what you believe in. So it may not be politically correct, I know there are some people that probably give me backlash about it. If I know about it, I don't know. But probably give me backlash about some of the things I do and who I am. But I'm not pretending to go out there and, be a part of the circle. Mm-hmm. So, just staying true to who you are. Find some hobbies too. Acting is great. Mm-hmm. But, really find some things to do in between and become a whole person before, you're trying to be an actor. I remember taking acting class back in Orlando, and someone said, I think this is Meisner, when, the during Meisner class, but it takes 20 years to be an actor because you first have to be a person. So your life experiences, go live your life. You know, don't just be like acting. Obviously, you do have to do the work. That's important. But I think that there are other things that fulfills you as a person, not just, you know. And also establish some of the reasons why you want to be an actor. Is it because you just want to be famous, or do you really like the art? So.
Good question. I guess that's something that they should ponder out before they step off into it, because there is a difference between being a movie star and an actor.
Exactly. I mean, I can tell you right now, I've spent more money being an actor than actually making money being an actor. So, and that's the realistic truth about it. Obviously, I do other things in the industry as well to supplement that. But, you know, as an actor, I can probably say I've made less than $2,000 as an actor.
But you,
like in roles. But I mean, I've gotten paid for gigs here and there. Yeah. But it does take some time, and it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of everything.
But you appreciate the art.
Appreciate the art, yes, because it's one of the only jobs I can think of in the world that you go into work and you are something totally different.
Yeah, that's
you know, and it keeps it interesting. You're never doing the same thing twice. So,
unless you're working on a TV series.
Unless you're working on a TV series, maybe. Yep.
Even then, that might change.
Yeah, but even then, in TV series, you never stop learning your character, and it's almost like in theater. You know, even if the play ends, there's still debt to your character. But I do like TV because as the series roll on, there's always something new to learn, and the relationships you have to other characters, and so on and so forth.
Okay. And here's what I don't forget for my disembodied voice friend out there, to make my Queen Latifah shout out. Latifah, we're looking for you. Because I think that, you know, she could be a Robin McCall's on The Equalizer. Sundays at CBS. I don't get paid for that. You could be a protege for Robin McCall. I think that'd be good for you. Action on television. I'm putting that out into the universe.
All right.
As well as Latifah being here for disembodied voice. You're welcome. For those of you that's tuned in and stayed through this entire thing, random questions and all, I hope that you get something out of this and that you've learned through my expert of the episode. Please go back if you have not seen the other ones, the previous, I don't know, what are we on? That's previous 5. I could be off. I'm in a time warp. So if you...
You went all the way out there.
I'm all the way out. That's what happens with podcasts. You get caught in a time warp. What I'm saying now, you know, I probably have said something differently following this or prior to.
In an alternate universe.
In an alternate universe. Anyway, I've lost my track. So if you've missed information that has been provided in the other ones, please know that those episodes are online and available. WadeWorksStudios and Thinking Out Loud Network. You can find all episodes ready for, I guess it's video on demand if you're on YouTube, greater podcast platforms everywhere. Streaming. And, you know, maybe we'll get to do a live stream one of these days. You want to come back and do a live stream?
Oh, absolutely.
There we go. That might
serve. You'll have me, yeah, sure.
Of course we'll have you. Absolutely.
I'm honored.
You're a fantastic guest. So, you know, with those things, just take the knowledge that's being placed out here. That is what this is for. So everybody that is trying, because I know so many people out there that have been trying to jump the hurdle, trying to find information. How do I do this? Where do I get an agent? How do I even start looking for roles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to get as much of that locked in for free for you as we can. All you got to do is sit down, tune in, and listen. And if you are so inclined, because, you know, I love to hear or read people's answers, answer those random questions. Let me see what you got. You know, I am interested in what you may be doing. And did you know Friday Foster and all that good stuff? You know, you might make a good Friday Foster if they ever remake the movie. Think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, look her up. Anyway, and with that, because she clearly didn't know what I was talking about. But with that, I will wrap this on in. I am Mr. Green. She is Alexandra Denise. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the Tales from the Grip podcast. And remember, if you're going to make a movie, then you need to get a grip. So long, everybody.
Tales from the Grip podcast. If you're going to make a movie, then you need to get a grip.